This is Karam Jivani with Coldwell Banker in Irvine, California, and I've been in business for the last 20 years. I am here with Mary Gwak. She is the Vice President for Lawyer's Title, and she'll be speaking on a very important subject, which is the liens on your property. Mary, it's all yours.
Thank you so much, Karam. Good afternoon, everyone. Pleasure to be here to share with you some insights from our industry. Oftentimes, people get very intimidated by the word liens. I wanted to first take a couple minutes to explain the types of liens that we're going to be discussing and how it affects you as a property owner, whether it's just during your ownership or when you go to sell your property. So first and foremost, a lien is any sort of an encumbrance. If somebody is owed money, a lien can be placed on your property. One of the most common types of liens that you will deal with or hear about in being a property owner is really a mortgage. A lot of times people don't identify the two to be the same, but a mortgage loan is essentially a lien. Somebody has lent you money and they're using your property as well as your credit worthiness as collateral, and they place a document on your chain of title. So a mortgage is a very frequent or common type of lien or loan. Those are typically ones that our property owners signed off on, are very well aware of. When you go to get the loan, you know that there's going to be something recorded against your property. There's a few others that become a little more interesting for purposes of this conversation. So let's talk about what a mechanic's lien is. A mechanic's lien is a lien that a contractor or a subcontractor can get recorded on your property. It can be for very small amounts or it can be for very large amounts. A mechanic's lien is essentially when a contractor or a subcontractor is telling the courts that they've performed work or duties on your home and they've not been paid. So when they're not paid, they have the right to go to a court in the appropriate county where your property is located and place a mechanic's liens. Mechanic's liens need to be cleared up, whether it's through the means of paying off that lien amount or negotiating with a contractor. It needs to be removed off of title, or the title company needs to know that it can be paid in a transaction. We cannot clear title until a mechanic's lien is essentially gone from your property. Now, there are some intricacies about it. At any time you have more detailed questions about a mechanic's lien, feel free to give Karam a call and he and I can work together to answer those questions. The next two types are judgments and tax liens. I'll kind of talk about these two together. Not that they're essentially the same, but I can talk about it in a wider scope for your understanding. So a judgment is sometimes or oftentimes in the world of real estate something that necessarily doesn't have to do with your property, but it has to do with the persons or the owners that own the property. For example, if I took out a charge card with Nordstrom's or a major department store, or took out a car lease and I did not fulfill my financial obligations to whoever lent me that credit or the money, once I default in that creditor can go to a judge and place a judgment lien against me and my property. One very, very interesting thing about this that a lot of our consumers or property owners don't realize is they say, well, how does Nordstrom's know, or why is Nordstrom's placing a lien on my home? The judgment itself is against me. Why is it on my home? Well, the reasoning for that is because when you requested credit, whether it was through a department store or an automobile or appliances, you've essentially given them your social security number. So the creditors, when they are not paid in full or they're not paid to where you have met your obligations, they have the right and ability to place that judgment against you. And if it's against you, it does attach to the real properties that you own. in addition to judgment liens, the secondary part of it, are taxes. Absolutely, property taxes can appear in the form of liens, but more particularly for educational purposes, I wanted to talk about individual tax liens, whether it's state or federal government tax liens. So if I fail to pay my my income taxes to the state of California or to the IRS, and I've gone years without paying taxes, the IRS, let's say, caught on to this, what they will do is they will place a IRS lien against me on my social security number. So whether or not it instantaneously appears on my property, it will at some point catch up to me. So judgments and the state and federal tax liens, whether or not you see it on your property, if and when you go to either sell or refinance your property, it will need to be addressed, it will need to be paid off and released. If you have any questions on this very big subject matter of liens, please feel free to call Karam Jivani anytime, and he can be reached at 949-338-5583. Thanks so much for watching.